Hello, online people. This is Friday Reds. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Deliver us from evil, O Lord, for the kingdom and the power and the glory are yours, now and forever. Amen. Yeah, this is Friday Red's weekly show. This is your host for today, Friday Reds, and we're gonna state the U.S. Constitution preamble. It goes, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Yeah, this is Friday Reds. We talk about the past week, the present week, and the future week. And so, past week, tragedy struck the United States, Parkland, Florida. Again, it's another American high school shooting. Um, it's really, social media has brought it quickly, but in the past, high school shootings have been occurring in the United States of America in my time as a high school student in the city of Mountain View. There were incidents that occurred there when I was in high school, so I'm very much familiar with high school violence and people bringing in weapon and guns, especially. This is not new. Although the weapons are more powerful than then, still bringing a weapon that can kill a person, a fellow student, is very, very tremendously wrong in the American society, especially at the coming of age. And the past really um, week, this reminds me of my past and what motivated me to become a Hollywood actor and storyteller, to pursue educating the youth, um, the minors, ages so 1 through 20. And but my challenges are, it's always about budget. Those that have a lot of money, those that are filthy rich, are able to produce these stories and are able to tell the stories of these tragic incidents in the history of the United States of America. But we, the people of color, we don't have money. We don't have much budget, so our stories are, not immediately told. Where we can spend millions of dollars on um, just a TV show, producing a TV series, the way they produced it, like in the 1970s, 80s, all the TV shows that were produced. There was, it cost money. And so we, people of color, we need help. We need the budgets to tell the stories from our point of view. Um, America is, a beautiful place, and you're able to do these things. But to cure our problems in uh, the coming of age, a lot of young Americans, they think they're bulletproof, like how I felt when I was in high school, bulletproof. I mean, I went to elementary here in the U.S. I went to junior high school here, and junior high school is seventh and eighth, and then 9 to 12 is the American high school. And this past tragedy at Parkland, Florida, is really a reminder of how America is really, it's a land of opportunity, but the children are very independent and free. They have free will, and the challenges of ages 17 and 18, which is the threshold of being a minor to an adult, is really, these are like the pivot point and danger point. That's where the devil or the evil forces want to prey on these young children. I call them now because I'm not the age of high school, but I recall and have a memory of the high school life, and how it's very competitive with your peers and your fellow high school classmates. And in the U.S., there's so much freedom. We have our Second Amendment, and so a lot of the young Americans, we watch a lot of westerns, cowboys, guns. Our culture in America is always about guns, and then of course the today's time is the video games, PlayStation, Xbox, all these shooting games. So you don't even have to be out in the streets, But the influences of media, it's business, and a lot of the young kids are consumers of these created products that make, entertain people, and some of the informations are aimed to be for the adults. And unfortunately, young Americans, the minors, they get exposed to these content that are supposedly for adults over 21. And so, there is a borderline, cross problem in information age, because information is really powerful. Hollywood is a content king, and it's still a content king. And Broadway and Hollywood are the movers and shakers of this country, the United States of America. It empowers the creative minds of the youth, and it makes the elder men be youthful. Um, and of course, the problems in the crossing of the borders, where the adults prey on the young, which become pedophiles, or what's happening now in Hollywood, the Me Too movement, where filthy rich producers prey on the young and the beautiful, and so that's the past history, and it's in this century 2018 we face a lot of these problems, especially with the power of information age, the social media technologies, with Twitter and Facebook, and we're able to do these things, or people are well informed. And so, as adults, if we're well informed, obviously the young minds are brilliant. They can go online and traverse information, go through YouTube and all that. And so, information for them is very powerful, and they can capture information that's either for the good or for the evil. Like anything in the public, before, you do a research, you go to the U.S. Public Library, and you find good, bad, and ugly, and all information in the U.S. Public Library. I mean, but you do have to take out the book. You have a library card and all that traditional how to acquire and research information. But today's youth, the high schoolers, it's just the power of the smartphone, where information can just easily be found just by a click of a button. Find a website, or a Wikipedia or information coming from some unique group, Facebook group that just focuses on their specific information agenda. So I would like to say one Hail Mary to a couple of Hail Mary and to the Hail Mary to the victims of the Florida Parkland massacre, or what you call, um, may they rest in peace, the victims, and just pray, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. And you know, my show begins with the Lord's Prayer. You can read the Lord's Prayer, Google it, chapter 6, the book of Matthew. You can Wikipedia or Google the Lord's Prayer. And especially in this time of Lent, you know, this last Wednesday was the Ash Wednesday. It was the transition from Mardi Gras to Lent. Wednesday, Ash Wednesday, and was also the Valentine's Day. But a tragedy occurred, and somebody, evil forces, are making, or I'm just saying, spiritually, Valentine's is supposed to be a good day, and so it's Ash Wednesday, but the evil forces are revealing their presence in the spiritual domain, that bad forces are coming down on earth. And we people that understand Romans chapter 5, Romans chapter 8, book of Romans, that a person from the physical realm is in the spiritual realm, and people that are now in the spiritual realm can sense what's going on in the physical world. And this tragic incident with Parkland, Florida is really tragic. Anyway, so that's the past, and I didn't want to dwell on that. But all I can say is I encourage everyone to pray, and that's my focus. Is, if you don't know how to pray, just go to the book of Matthew chapter 6 and read up on the Lord's Prayer. Just Google or search the Lord's Prayer, and that's how you pray. And pray for all your peers, family, relatives, all your blood relatives and your spiritual relatives and your fellow U.S. citizens. A whole lot of things are going on, and I think evil forces are in the realm in today's 2018 century. Let me see. I shared a few things, a timeline, and which was my reasoning to problem solve our underrepresentation in the United States of America as people of color, Native Americans and Asian American men. The Native American and Asian American men, in the history, the timeline of this country, the Americas, there have been tragic situations that we felt, in the past were very bullying to us. And 2018, we had the opportunity to be and take part of the U.S. government now, post 1976, which was the bicentennial, 200 years since 1776 of the U.S. government. The history of U.S. when 1776 occurred, the founding fathers, their intent was to be inclusive, a diversity of all people. The Cherokee Nation was already participating with the founding fathers. The Iroquois, founding fathers were also observing the Iroquois and authored this U.S. Constitution and the preamble. And it was tragic when um, Andrew Jackson changed the way the U.S. government would run. He encouraged segregation and what you call the Trail of Tears. And from that moment on, any people that resembled the Cherokees, which were basically Native and Asian American men, they're Native and Asian American men. The Cherokee Nation, they were forced to be, you know, exodus out of their indigenous land for centuries. In the areas of Georgia, Atlanta, those areas. Uh, but Andrew Jackson committed this and made it a U.S. federal law, and basically it was a license to kill Native and Asian American men in this continent. So the original founding father, 1776, it's not what they intended for the United States. And by 1830, this what you call genocide of all the Native American people that are Asians, that have the features and the DNA of the Mongolitic race, and that it resembles Asians, the newcomers like Vietnamese Americans. Because when I was in Hollywood, a lot of these Native Americans were in extras as Vietnamese. If there was a Vietnam movie, the extras were Native Americans, and they were Vietnamese. Anyways, that's how when I was in Hollywood. So our challenge really is to restore ourselves as elder men of value, and high percentage of us are now elders. And I feel, when I was in high school, I didn't much pay attention to my own personal culture. I was more focused on what was what was the thing, the culture that was popular from New York to LA. And so that was the culture that I lived when I was still underage, under 21. Come by when I was adult, working for corporate America, still, I worked as if I was, the U.S. culture, which you're supposed to be. But when things like divorce, things like losing a family or a family member from tragedies like this, you kind of like look back at your timeline and look at what has occurred since your time of birth to who you are as a person, and then why did you survive that tragedy or tragic moment in your timeline, and you kind of like dwell on that moment in time, why that kind of like void happened in your life. But what it is to write about it. You have to tell the story about it, because it's some kind of intervention from the Holy Creator that you are be given a gift to tell about it. Your experience, your moment in time in the past, and in the present, you're supposed to write about it, tell about it, discuss about it, so that come future, if it does occur again, or if you can prevent bad things that happened in the past by writing it now and explaining and describing it, so that if it does repeat in the future, you're aware of it, so you have more of a awareness and self-defense that, hey, this looks familiar. This, like say when you go to a place and you say, hey, this looks familiar, I've been here before, this is a bad place, I gotta leave. But if you're not aware of what has occurred before, and you go into a situation in the future that you've been there before, but you didn't recognize it because you didn't watch a movie about it, or you weren't informed, you did not research or whatever, and you got there and you're in a situation where you're not ready, or you're and so bad things happens to you because you're not prepared. And so knowing the past is a good prediction of the future, because you don't want to repeat bad mistakes. You want to always go with positive. So that's the show that my focus, my show is past, present, and future. So I go back, like I said, to my memory of the high school incidents, and it's really tragic. To 2018, you see it in other parts of the United States. I mean, this has been going on since the Columbine incidents in the 90s, yeah, mid 90s, and American high schools has to be cured, and that's my gut feeling really is because content is always led by a Caucasian male, white man, and content from the content kings, Hollywood and media. The role model and the leading person is always a white guy, whether it be an evil white guy or a good white guy. Content wise, in movies like horror movies or war movies, it's always the white soldier, the hero white guy. It's always the bad guy, the white bad guy. And so a lot of these high school kids nationwide, whether it be black, white, or Native or Asian, they look up to these white leading men. Like I did. I looked up to Tom Laughlin, Billy Jack. I looked up to Chuck Norris. I looked up to all these white male leading men, that are in action superhero type. What do you call it? I mean, Marvel Comics. All these, Iron Man. All these white male leading men. But it does not cure who I am as a Native American, Asian American male. And the only way I could solve that is produce shows like this, and not really a blog or whatever. It's just my way of saying, look, I need help. I need your donation. I ask everybody to send it. I posted it to send it to my PO box in PO Box 2562, Ceres, California, zip code 95307, to donate for my cause. Because what I'm trying to do is problem solving the United States of America, uh, integration and problems in role modelings. And when you don't have enough, when you have a lopsided role models, where all the role model leads are white males, and then a few black males like Blade, Wesley Snipes, you have, and then of course all the sports players, their basketball and football. Um, it's always white male, black male, and the existence of Native American male and Asian American males. There's not a whole lot for a white kid to look up to. They look at Bruce Lee, but he's dead and gone. A long time ago. They need the young white male, the young white kids in America in these high schools. They need Native American, um, Native American, Asian American male role model, so that these white kids can see a perspective of a different man to look up to, and not just the white male monster, white male killer, serial killer, white male. It's always like, and then the problem with Hollywood is like they choose a white-looking male, even though it's a character that's supposed to be a Native American or Asian male, and whitewash it to be a character that's played by uh, a white-looking Asian male, which is like Daniel Chris in the series Conan, the Conan story, where the guy that killed Versace in the mid '90s, and it's fine. It's a story about American culture and this Filipino American serial killer, but he is definitely white. A high percentage of the serial killers are white males, like Dahmer. These are like worst types of mass murderer, and it's always been that. That's been the image in the United States, content king, and the only way we can switch it over is to produce leading men, um, elder men of value, Asian American or Native American men in Hollywood, and I'm glad there's a large of population in LA, um, and there are guys that are really taking the leadership there, like Abe Pactama and Craig Wilson. They are, pursuing this infrastructure, which I was attempting to do in LA, but I was struggling because I just didn't have enough, you know, budget. Everybody needs a project budget. That it's like play money. You need play money in Hollywood to produce TV series that target a specific network. And Hulu is acquiring a lot of these properties. So it takes a team of people, a team of storytellers, actors. I keep telling all these actors, work with me as a team, not a solo artist. Keep telling them. For the 10, 15 years I spent in LA, I said, work with us as a team. Be a team player. Don't try to be a solo artist. I mean, so many Philippine actresses I met there, and they keep going off branches to do their own thing. Instead of supporting me, instead of pushing me and uplifting me, working with me, they go on to, build their own stuff. And if it fails, it fails. See, instead of working with guys like me or Abe Pactama, push, work together, collaborate. And the reason why Abe Pactama and I did that was just the purpose of showing elder men in Hollywood that we can do it. It takes time, and it's just convincing these young actors, actresses in our community, the Native and Asian American community, that they gotta focus on their own leading men. It's fine. I mean, they love white guys and black guys, but that's not us. We're Native and Asian looking men. Alaskan, Eskimo, Navajo. You know, we're Hawaiian, Filipino. We look. That's the way we look, and that's the where we belong. I mean, no matter how much I grew up with white kids, or you know, I'm not. I mean, culturally, I'm them, Americanized, but the first impression of me is always, oh, you're Chinese because of my eyes. I mean, sometimes I look really, Indio, but okay, so we we're broadcast at the, gee, where am I? 28 minutes. Maybe I could do something. I wanted to, no, I'm going to do that on a separate, what do you call it, but this is Friday Reds, and we talked about the past and the present, the challenges of characters like me, Stanley Jack, you know, the what we're trying to do. I'm in Stanislaus County, and I'm interacting with a bunch of cowboys that think, they try not to be cowboys, they try not to do country music, but, they're guitar players like myself, and I'm trying to share the slacky guitar to them. It's new to them. They don't know about slacky. My dad taught me Bulinaw slacky. It's a Philippine slacky guitar tuning. But prior to, like I said, 1492, prior to um, the renaming of the Philippines, it was called Maharlika back then, and same thing with the Hawaiian Kingdom. It was on a different name. Well, Hawaii, but I'm just saying that the different chiefs that are sailors, travelers, they were from the Philippines, from Maharlika to Australasia, Australia, all those kingdoms. They used to sail all those travel by sailboats, and so um, the spreading of guitar and ukulele is a European arrival. The Portuguese and the Spanish, And when the natives got a hold of this instrument, the guitar and the ukulele, they were able to, um, you know, adapt to it and apply their own tuning, which is called slack key. It's Hawaiian uh, evolved, but it's something else in the Philippines. They call it something else because the Spanish colonized the Philippines, and then the Portuguese and Hawaiian, you know. So, but the music and the culture coming from the Latin people from Europe brought it to the Americas and to the Asian Pacific Islanders, and so that's future, something I'm going to talk about later on my next clip. I've gone over time, over 30 minutes, but I wanted to just say rest in peace to the victims of Parkland, Florida. I mean, it was like another Las Vegas. Oh, what a horror in the United States, you know. Hell on Earth, and the 45th has really brought hell on Earth. And oh, the FBI recently, I mean, it was just like posted this morning, early this morning, about the Russian intervention of the election. So I don't know what the U.S. government is gonna do. I don't know what the thing, if they're gonna give the back the 45th to Hillary Clinton, and take it back from or have the U.S. citizens re-vote and defend the elections, the U.S. elections. It was again, FBI just announced, like I think this morning or yesterday or this morning, that the U.S. election was tampered with by the Russian people. You know, using information technology, because information is power. So I really stress we have a lot of work to do in the United States of America, especially the Filipino people in the LA, the Filipino American people in LA. It's your job there in Los Angeles to get this thing done so that the rest of the United States knows more about people of color, especially the natives and Asian American men, especially the Filipinos there in LA. It is your job to tell the rest of the country nationwide, you know, and help men like me that are storytellers but need budget, need capital. So please donate to, you know, men like Craig Wilson or myself. You can send it to my P.O. Box 2562, Ceres, California 95307. Just go to any U.S. post office and write a money order and donate it to mail it to my P.O. Box. Thank you very much.